Now, the rest of the story.
It is 2 weeks to the day that we cut this hay down here, grass hay, and I'm down here doing, well, let's call it exactly like it is. It's a salvage operation. Well, that's really what I thought. I mean, I've been keeping an eye on it, but as you guys can see behind me, it's actually pulling up a fair amount of material out of that new growth. This is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like after I ted it. So I came down and checked it this morning, and going across it with the four-wheeler, it's worse than I had hoped. I lost my reclaim ground on the lower bottom. That has water standing on it again, so as far as getting anything made off of it or even dragging my mole plow across it, if we get the duals back on the 7920 and I get into the right attitude / mindset, I may very much come down here with the mole plow regardless, with the duals on and the front wheel assist and the diff lock on, and drag that mole plow down through that and give that water somewhere to go, because I'm fully in the mindset, at least on part of that stuff, it just doesn't know where to go. I mean, I've been asked about moving dirt to level that out so it has somewhere to go. Looking down at the lower bottom, it actually slants towards the hillside, and you're talking about, well, simply moving the dirt from the right side of it by the river and then moving it over to the hillside. You're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars that I don't have to invest in to ground that I'm just renting. At least the stuff that I'm tedding out, though, the leaves are still very much there. The stems are all right. I, believe it or not, I'm actually back into thinking that at least it's going to make something worthwhile to feed to the beef cows. Dairy quality, I imagine the dairy cow guys would be a little hard pressed to really want to feed this to dairy cows, but grinding it up and mixing it into a TMR with a bunch of really like a hot mix of feed and then grinding this stuff into it, that's what guys are doing with CRP. So I don't really think this stuff quality wise would be that far off from CRP. And once again, if we're trying to keep from feeding your cattle snowballs, I'd say this stuff is still going to make something. The stuff on the hill, that was made a week and a half ago. I mean, other than the lopsided bale, I know that was because I had, the bale wasn't even when I dumped it out. But I'm actually really happy we were able to get all that made. And you can see how much the bench has greened up in the last 2 weeks. We got a lot of rain. We got inches of rain, and I think we're probably pushing 3 inches. I wouldn't be all that surprised. And the low spots down here, I mean, it was kind of a kick to the face, losing the stuff on the lower side of the bottom. Not really willing to give up on it yet, but when the weather works against you, you really don't have a whole lot you can do about it. I mean, if I could have gotten down here and subsoiled it, maybe it wouldn't have collected water like it did, because my problem is I'm trying to alleviate my issues for next spring going forward. It wasn't going to do much for getting this cutting made off of it yet. But this is where having a tedder available is really nice. It's pulling up the material where it's down below all that regrowth. It's able to pull it back up, get it out where the wind, the sunlight can actually let it breathe and get some air to it. I mean, it's wet, yes, I can see the wet spots. In my 30+ years, this isn't the worst stuff I've actually tried to rake up and make. I mean, we've had to do stuff for growing up for the beef cows and my grandpa's, because once again, the water turns on and then it just doesn't stop. So it's kind of on a drier year where at least you have the windows, appropriate windows to get it made, but enough water to get everything to grow back is ideally what everybody would want. But it just kind of is unfortunate with getting rained out to the point where the forecast was saying it was supposed to be dry yet after one chance of rain the day after I got done cutting it. And then it really hasn't stopped raining for the last 2 weeks. And I'd be happy just to get this stuff in a bale. Right now, it's looking like just trying to save the bottoms, or as much of the bottom as I can. Originally, I was hoping to have a bunch of hay to sell. Not a lot, you know, maybe 30 to 50 bales. I've given up on that. This is pretty much anything I make is going to be exclusively for cow feed. I mean, you just gotta accept the circumstances that have been dropped into your lap. And I don't know if this has just so much been dropped in my lap as I've been just more or less just been forced into, but I'm just grateful that there's enough here. It looks like it's at least gonna ton up. I mean, if we could get, with everything that's still on the ground that I'm able to bale, I don't think the stuff that's on, like, over on the other hillside, I'm not sure how much of that will actually be able to get rolled up, but it's a little bit of a confidence booster seeing what we got through here. And again, if the stuff doesn't look that high quality, why make it? Just leave it. For how heavy this is, for how much of material is there that the grass is growing up in, just leaving it isn't an option. It really isn't. I mean, if I got into a situation where the weather flat out would not let me make this, I would have to strongly consider taking a match to it at some point between now and next spring and just burning it in the field, because there's so much material there, residue, that would, leaving this much here for next year to try to make a first cutting with this stuff still here would be a nightmare, if I'd even be able to do it. Because like I've said, getting all this old material up off the ground is really important for your following year, because you're not having to get the ground to dry through all of this grass or all the previous year's material that's there, and then the ground just doesn't dry out. And I didn't go to all that work trying to get as much of this ground cleaned up down here to not get this stuff cleaned up, so I can at least try to make as much as I can next year. But if you're curious as to how much I'm gonna make this year versus last year, off the bottom, I averaged 700 bales. In the years I've been doing this, 700 bales off the Valley Farm. It's over that, but I'll be lucky if I even hit 350 total. Where am I at right now? 254. I'd be happy to hit 350. So if I get another 100 bales off here is what I'd like. 150 would be even better, but I'll keep you guys updated as we get it going here, because it's looking like I'm gonna ted this out today, everything that I can. I'm gonna come down and check it in the morning, probably ted it out again tomorrow to help break up some of that thicker stuff, and come down Saturday and rake it and mail it, haul it home, haul it out, get it up off the field on Sunday, and then starting Monday, 100% of our attention is going to be on getting ready for cutting beans. So wish me luck. I'll keep you updated. Lower bottom. Actually bringing me back a little bit of hope. I might be able to drag the ripper across this yet, because you can see where I didn't ted. That's everything that I had reclaimed that I had just lost again. But this is a low spot that I mean, when I was down here 2 days ago tedding this, I mean, the water was like out to there. Maybe that's the wildlife from drinking in it, because there's abundant deer tracks. But actually, let's just go down and see what this looks like quick, because I may have lost the ability to make the feed off of it, but being able to get that ripper of mine drug through it would be very, very much worth it. I'm still seeing some water standing, and that sun's definitely coming out. I didn't bother tedding this the other day because it was quite soft. See, now that's a problem. And no, going through and pulling that ripper across this isn't going to be a guaranteed cure for this, but it most certainly isn't going to hurt. And that's really what I'd like to see, is it dries off sooner next year. It's at least trying, you know. But that even itself, and that might just be a statement to how dry we've been. There was a lot of water standing here 2 days ago. Yes, there's a lot of water here now. This actually shown very clear signs of drying up. So maybe during harvest, after harvest, just throw that ripper on the back of the 76 and just come down and make a few passes down. Basically everywhere where it's green yet, it needs to be hit with the plow. But once again, just trying to set myself up better for next year. Which, once again, you're already planning for next year before you're even completely done with this year.